My beloved child, stop it all. You must give me your whole focus. This isn't a recommendation. This is an interruption from God. I am unable to wait much longer. I'm revealing everything to you. The stirring was sensed. Something in your spirit seemed to be changing. I'm finally removing the curtain and exposing what I've kept hidden up until now. The implications of what I'm about to say will impact your next discovery, breath, and becoming. Don't scroll. Don't skim. Do not consider this to be background noise. This word is timed, personalized, and targeted, and if you listen, really listen, everything that you believed was on hold will start to happen. I will reveal what has been concealed. If you stick with me through to the finish, I'll answer the questions you buried. You have endured enough waiting. Now I'm speaking without restraint, without hesitation, and without a filter. This is your time. Stay with me because everything will change after this. I have been observing your spirits trembling, my dear child. How you made an effort to continue moving even when your strength was ebbing and flowing. You've spent far too many quiet evenings wondering whether I'm still talking, seeing, or caring. And tonight, with love in my voice and fire in my breath, I come not just to provide consolation, but also to declare the end of the stillness. I must now speak after waiting through the pain of your inquiries, the raging of your anxieties, and the cacophony of your environment. The time has come for what I've kept in my heart for you. Not because I have something light-hearted to share. I have kept this moment safe from misunderstanding and premature exposure, treating it like a precious gem. And now I can't wait another day, child. I have to tell you everything. You didn't know it. The quiet that haunted you, however, wasn't nothing. As your spirit spoke things that even your lips couldn't articulate, I was crouching low in the hallowed silence of your surrender. While you pleaded for thunder, noise, and evidence, I was moving in silence, putting things into your timeline that needed quiet to set. I watched as your gaze swept the room in the hopes that someone would comprehend. And when the response was still a mystery, I saw your hands fold in prayer. Are you aware of what I observed? I witnessed a faith more valuable than gold. I witnessed a heart that chose to believe in what others only believe is absence. I waited not to punish you, but to prepare the soil of your spirit for the seed I'm planting right now. This message marks the beginning of uncovering rather than the start of comfort. I am not here to prolong the poetic delay. I'm here to open the mine of secrets I've been longing to share. You've stepped over a threshold, and eternity is marking this very breath. The silence that enveloped your journey was not the result of heavenly neglect. It was the incubation chamber of revelation, a celestial nesting. I declare, the silence is over, as I am the one who has always understood the weight of your waiting. It's official. I'm opening the sky to pour strategy down, not just to provide words of encouragement. Remain in this place. Avoid scrolling past this because your spirit is already leaning in, and it knows. This word isn't the end. It's your answer. When I've observed you, my dear, I have been nearer than your shadow, more profound than your heartbeat. Every stride you take, every moment you pause, every silent turn of your heart toward me when no one else can see it, I have followed it all. On mornings when you felt too heavy to get out of bed, I saw you awaken. Even so, you did. I watched you move forward when your heart felt bruised and your legs felt like stone. Survival was all the world saw. I witnessed tremendous perseverance. While others misinterpreted your silence, I saw it as a spiritual shout greater than any public acclaim. And child, it's not just what I witnessed. I felt that way too. I experienced the pain of your inquiries and the suffering of your obedience. You were caught in the act of saying yes. You lost certain relationships. Your reputation was damaged, and you were left standing in places where I was the only one who could echo you. Does he see me still? You've asked. Does heaven even recognize this? Yes. With unwavering certainty, I say today, I didn't just see your steps. You and I walked them. Your feet churned the dust, and my fingerprints are in it. You released the sighs of my breath in empty rooms. You were never the only one who obeyed. I was with you, trial by trial, moment by moment. The revelation has been waiting to be revealed, so I must tell you now, not later, not someday. You must understand that every act of invisible faith was never in vain. I gathered them like precious jewels, weaving them into a legacy that will soon gleam in my splendor. Others received public recognition for their actions, but you are going to receive public recognition for your private actions. Because the silent soldiers are not ignored by me, I crown the obedient, not the ostentatious. I raise those who have learned in secret fields. They weren't the ones looking for unseen platforms. I forgot, you thought. No, my dear. One day, I will tell you, you passed. You passed the delay test. You passed the obscurity test. When resentment rapped on your door, you passed the test of being kind. What comes next for you is more than just compensation. A coronation is underway. I am not awarding survival medals. I'm releasing important mandates. My child, if this message touched your spirit today, click the super thanks button to show your faith and gratitude. Your super thanks is more than just a gift. It is a declaration that you trust in my provision and that you will help spread my word to those who are lost and searching. Your path, the arduous, arid, perplexing, and emotionally draining path you have been traveling, has been the curriculum of kingship. You've mastered the art of bearing responsibilities gracefully. You shall now bear my authority with dignity. Where did this favor come from, you may wonder, and you'll understand. It originated from the steps he observed. It came from the tears he counted. It came from a loyalty that shook the corridors of heaven but never made headlines. I've never had the opportunity to express this clearly before, so allow me to clarify. I am going to entrust you with something that wasn't gained by performance. It was drawn to purity. You didn't work hard to get into this season, you gave yourself over to it. That surrender has set off an unstoppable force. I'm offering you something right now that doesn't have any fine print or forfeiture worries. It has my signature, my seal, and my unwavering yes. And I'm granting this because you maintained your integrity, not because you did everything perfectly. Even when people seemed to avoid you, when doors remained closed, or when questions went unanswered, you refused to allow bitterness to grow. Your spirit was not soured by disappointment. You continued being unvarnished, honest, and occasionally shaky. But you did not record every appearance when you came. I don't grade based on charisma, child. I weigh hearts. I test motivations. And the fire has passed over yours. Let's pause now. Breathe. Allow this truth to seep into the very foundation of your beliefs. You are not in the rear. You are not forgotten. You are not being ignored. You're being raised up. That is not a random outcome. It is a divine outcome. For concealed faithfulness, this is the harvest season. Furthermore, the first fruit I put in your hands will serve as irrefutable evidence that I watched every move. They were weighed. I blessed them. I'm crowning them now. Let's talk about the thing you've been holding in your heart with shaky confusion, child. The pause. The word that haunted you and encircled your pledges like a mist. You've questioned, what's taking so long? Did I overlook it? Was I wrong? Oh, dear one, I'll tell you what you were unable to perceive. The holdup wasn't a denial. The reason was design. Every tick of the clock, every lingering quiet, and every prayer that felt unanswered were part of a supernatural choreography much too intricate to be hurried. When I slowed things down, I wasn't being mean, I was being careful. You were requesting blessings, but I was about to give you blueprints. While you prayed for results, I was creating outpourings. Behind the curtain of time, I have been constructing something quite substantial. No prayer has gone unanswered. Each has been woven into a larger design. For the totality of my glory to be shown through your life, a series of divine domino effects must occur at precisely the right time and in precisely the right places. Good things at the wrong moment can become burdens, which is why I couldn't let it arrive too soon. And I have too much affection for you to allow your blessing to come unanchored. Listen up. Your discernment was honed by the weight. Your sensitivity increased as a result. You were left craving more than just answers. You became hungry for me. You began to listen for whispers in the silence rather than searching the sky for signs. That posture, my child, is the one that can support what I'm going to put on your shoulders. Your craving for admiration once kept your heart bound, so I could not release this weight of glory. This kind of favor was too much for a vessel that was still bleeding through unhealed fissures. As a result, I allowed the weight to do what it alone is capable of: refine, strip away the superficial, and stretch the sacred. It created room for me as well as for my gifts, and now the time on heaven's clock has finally arrived. Not only are you spiritually prepared, you are soul-aligned. You are not merely available, you are anointed. I'm here today to tell you everything, and I'm doing it with fire in my hands and urgency in my voice because the curtain is rising. Seasons are changing. The moment has arrived. The paradox of delay is that, although it may seem like a lull on your end, it is frequently a flurry of activity on mine. As you waited in a silent corridor, heaven was setting up a stage. Angels were positioning people. I was rerouting resources. I was softening hearts. Reinforced doors were being prepared to open at precise angles. Above all, your identity was being carved out of stone, not sand. This is not a blessing that vanishes in the heat. This is the type of blessing that endures. And I waited because of you, my dear. This was not going to be just another chapter. I wanted it to be a pivotal moment for you. The point at which your narrative transitions from survival to supernatural manifestation. It's the sort of turning point that silences the doubters and restores faith in the broken. You weren't penalized. You were being kept safe. No one was skipping you. You were being held in place. My signature will be so obvious on what I distribute now that no one will be able to claim credit, not even you. Therefore, I reiterate, the delay was not in vain. It was divine. And what appeared to be an excessively extended span was actually me pushing the boundaries of what you could contain. I made you more capable. I broadened your horizons. I strengthened your foundation. What follows is not for you alone. It will be a blessing through you. And it would have crumbled under pressure if it had arrived earlier. But because I formed it over time with tears and trust, it will stand now. And I thought of you when I designed it. Do you recall those evenings, my darling child, when the quiet was so deafening that it echoed in your ears? The silence stretched between us like a chasm, and it felt like desertion. Then you said to me, "Where are you, God?" I did not answer in the manner you had hoped, not with lightning, not with thunder, not with immediate miracles. But I was there. Oh, how I was there. It was spiritual discipline that made me wait, not a lack of interest. You weren't being ignored. I was investing in you. You were evolving into a person who could manage what I had been preparing to publicly reveal. I knew what you were requesting, but I also knew what you were becoming, and child, those two things had to coincide precisely. Otherwise, the very thing you pleaded for could have fractured your identity. I had to deepen you in order to safeguard your destiny. I had to hold back the blessing so that you wouldn't be overtaken by it. You wanted me to move quickly, but I loved you too much to give you something that would bloom before your roots were sufficiently established. I chose to wait. I waited while you cried, while you were frustrated, while you asked, "Why not now?" I saw how your hope twisted and your heart ached. But you did not break in the bending. That was what I needed to see. That is what confirms your readiness. Supernatural weight cannot be sustained by surface strength. It can only be carried by depth. Delay forges that depth. You hated the delay, yet it was holy. The potter's tools are pressure and time, with each stroke shaped to your personality. You asked for favor. I offered formation. You requested expansion. I granted excavation because I never construct on unprepared ground. And now I am going to construct a substantial framework in your life. Its legacy, its lineage shifting. A decision like this has an impact on future generations. And now that you've remained still long enough for me to excavate, cleanse, and strengthen you, I can finally release what I've always desired to give. You are more than just a conduit for faith. You are a stronghold of tried and true faith. And now I am starting because of who you have become. Listen to me. I'm not just answering. I'm starting. Your timeline isn't causing me to react. What was saved for this version of you is now being released, the version you never even imagined would make it through the season. But now look at you, standing but scarred, older yet smarter, not broken but shaken. The evidence that waiting wasn't a waste of time is you. You were remade by it, and so I'm opening doors that don't swing on human hinges. In the furnace of your faith, I'm forging keys. I'm sending miracles with your name inscribed on them. It was your perseverance, not your performance. This award isn't arbitrary. This is acknowledgement. Heaven noticed. Noted heaven. Heaven was waiting for you. Heaven is now moving with you. I was unable to wait any longer because of this. I've been waiting to partner with the version of you that is standing right now. When things don't make sense, you know how to trust. You are skilled at worshiping with shaking hands, not just when I yell, but also when I whisper. You know how to pay attention. I can trust influence to that type of heart, my child. So be aware of this going into the upcoming season. The wait wasn't a kind of discipline. It served as a prelude to revelation. Because you are ready, I, your God, am now revealing everything to you in rivers of clarity rather than riddles. I'm also prepared to pour. Now pay close attention, because what I'm going to tell you might be the most difficult to accept, but it's also the most important to comprehend. You dubbed that season breaking, that instant when you felt like everything had collapsed. It wasn't devastation. Delivery was that. Pain wasn't the reason you were being broken. You were being ripped apart to give birth to something sacred. Then you did see it. How were you able to, when all you experienced was humiliation, loss, and bewilderment? But I was in every crevice, kid. I was the midwife of your change, and you had to break like a seed in order to bloom. I was letting things fall to expose what was keeping you back, even though you prayed for me to heal what was breaking apart. Not every breakdown is a curse. Sometimes it's actually mercy. I let some relationships fall apart. I needed the voices around you to align with your inner vision. not because I wanted you to be by yourself. In order to restore something sacred, I upended what seemed safe. I did allow it to shatter, but I kept you safe. I'm utilizing them as the way for your mantle because I managed to catch every fractured piece in my hands. What you thought was the end was actually the start of something eternal. Do you recall the night you sobbed into your pillow and muttered, "I don't know who I am anymore"? That wasn't the loss of identity, that was the labor of destiny. I was removing the expectations, projections, and false layers that the outside world had put on you. I was unearthing the true you, the one I offered before the noise, before the winds, before the roles others tried to design for you. Your actual bones were exposed by the breaking. I'm currently dressing them in strength. Your tears were not merely grief. Your fresh start was baptized with holy water. And now, the unexplainable agony is going to give rise to uncontrollable power. You believed that you were collapsing, yet I was bestowing upon you wisdom, fortitude, and divine authority that can only be attained by perseverance. You understand why I'm unable to wait any longer? Your spirit's contraction is now fully developed. The moment of manifestation has arrived for what I sowed a long time ago. While you were crying, I remained silent. I was measuring the moment, not because I was unmoved. And now is the time, kid. Your waiting womb has opened. The water is broken. What was concealed is being given life by the breeze of my speech. I'm not just talking to you anymore. You are giving birth to me. The unfulfilled goals, the dormant ideas, and the purpose you doubted. I'm bringing them all back to life. It's more than just a breakthrough. Birth is this. It's called emergence. This is the start of being and the debut of destiny. Therefore, believe what I say next. You were born out of what broke you. What made room for me also emptied you. And what attempted to bury you simply made you more deeply ingrained in my plan. I am the God who transforms endings into openings and graves into gardens. I also announce today that your shattering was not the end. Come nearer, my darling, since that is when the revelation will begin. Indeed, even closer. Because what I'm going to say isn't for everyone. It is a whisper intended only for your soul. You've been praying, pleading, and persisting in the dark for certain things, but they haven't arrived when you expected them to. Even when it was barely breathing, you held on to hope, knocked on doors, and looked for signals. You asked me if I was paying attention, if I cared, and if I had changed my opinion about you when nothing happened. But I have to tell you the truth, child, and only now could do it. You weren't denied by me. I kept it hidden. I used providential delay to wrap up the response. I covered it up with silence and layers of time. You weren't ready to hold it yet, not because it wasn't yours. You see, I freely provide some goods. Then there are the jewels I keep for me. Furthermore, the object of your prayers is more than just a gift. It's a gem. Furthermore, those who are irresponsible or careless do not receive treasures. They are trustworthy, and I've been waiting for surrender to mold your hands. Your spirit is stretched by silence, and your heart is chiseled by faith so that you won't be broken when I put this in your life. It develops you. You must be able to hear me clearly. Withholding is not always a form of punishment. Delays can act as divine shields. Certain silences are considered sacred tactics. It would have fallen apart under your old fears if I had given you what you wanted when you first asked. Because you hadn't yet been shaped by the pressure of process, you would have handled the magnitude incorrectly. However, you now have a different grasp. Your faith is strong. You no longer have brittle judgment. To obey, you don't need to be validated. Applause is not necessary to believe. Signs are not necessary for you to follow my whisper. I waited for that reason. I was aligning, not because I wasn't there. I was using transformation to plan the timing, environment that is higher above. I was establishing your roots as you were becoming restless. Deem me invisible but vital. Before I could expose the fortress, I had to secure the foundation. And you're at last prepared to blossom without losing your uniqueness or the abundance after standing in arid locations long enough. I didn't want the blessing to make you fall in love. I wanted you to fall in love with me so that you wouldn't be distracted by the blessing. It validates you. And now I speak with all of heaven's power behind me. I'm going to give you what I've hidden. They are unrolling the scroll. The seal is cracking. They're revealing the plan. This is more than just a reward moment, because what I'm putting in your hands will benefit many others beyond you, both innocently and purposefully. It's a moment of duty. It's not for show. Power is the reason. Holy power, not human power. The kind that silently breaks chains, that subtly changes the atmosphere without yelling. That makes a huge difference. You're going to walk into what I was building, but you didn't see it. Door by door, step by step, and sight by glance. And you'll come to understand that there was never a wait. The design was amazing. In reality, I was shaping you into a person who could carry glory without letting it seep through old scars every day you were forgotten. The blessing arrived on time. Up until today, it was locked. Now, open your hands once more. Yes, open them, even if they're still shaking from the last letdown, because what I put in them won't fall out of your grasp this time. I've precisely timed it, wrapped it in resurrection, and sealed it with my signature. It was concealed, not misplaced, postponed, or rejected. It's yours now, because you're not only hoping for it now at last, you are prepared to grasp it. Listen carefully, child. The purpose of what you are reading now is not merely to cheer you up. This isn't another motivational moment to get you through the pain for another day. The reveal is this: I, God your Father, am revealing the mysteries to you and bestowing upon you divine understanding. It's not fluff, what I'm saying now. Fire is present. The echo isn't consoling. There are repercussions for this confirmation. You've been getting bits and pieces of encouragement, just enough to keep you going for far too long. However, this is not a whisper, dear. Rather, it is a trumpet, a sacred declaration that the mists are dissipating and the curtain is being pulled back. I'm reading the script in my voice, line by line, that confused you. And I have to say this seriously. Don't take this moment for granted. Don't think of this as just another motivational post to share. This exhortation isn't poetic. This prophecy and the distinction are significant because what I am doing right now alters not only your attitude but also your course. You have heard too many mixed messages, too many words from unreliable sources, too many viewpoints masquerading as knowledge, and too many diversions masquerading as guidance. But now I'm breaking through the clutter. I'm not using metaphors here. I'm not using parables to hide. I'm going to give you something that requires obedience, not simply feeling. Therefore, I'm speaking clearly, urgently, and tenderly. This word will challenge some aspects of you. Indeed, but it will also validate the things you've been hiding out of fear. That dream you abandoned, it's coming back. It stopped phoning you. I'm increasing the volume. That inner voice that was silenced by rejection and disappointment, I'm giving it new vitality. I've already written your name into this next move, so nothing can go wrong, not because I need you to perform, so pay attention to what I say. This is more than just supernatural support. It's exposure to God. I'm revealing the falsehoods you held to in the quiet. I am revealing the boundaries you have set for your own anointing. I'm revealing the fear that told you to settle while disguising itself as knowledge. I'm revealing the compromise that went under the name of caution, the sabotage masquerading as strategy. And I'm doing it to set you free, not to embarrass you, because there isn't time for diversions in this next section of your journey. The tempo is increasing, the urgency is growing, and I need you to walk with complete conviction, clarity, and confidence. You will not be the same person you were before this disclosure. When you cease doubting my voice, it will realign your perception of me, of yourself, and of what you are capable of carrying. You've been wondering why this message feels different for so long. Since it is. This isn't motivation, it's an abortion. They're not only stirring you, someone is calling for you. Not anytime soon, no later. I've waited long enough to express myself honestly now. Additionally, you've waited long enough to hear it fearlessly. So, get up, kid. Remove the ashes. Raise your gaze. My voice saying, "You're ready," signals the start of the revelation. Let's get started. I need you to comprehend something sacred, my little child. Through the very weight you've been attempting to shed, I've been attempting to demonstrate something to you. You've been requesting that I talk louder, demonstrate more clearly, and respond more quickly. However, I never remained quiet. I was muttering, and through the weight, I was whispering. This time, instead of using thunder, I was communicating through the strain, the tears, the constriction in your chest, and the persistent pain in your abdomen. You believed that the adversary was the weight, but in reality, it was proof of my closeness. Because I don't just stand by and watch you struggle, kid. I move into the center of the weight and whisper into your suffering. It wasn't punishment, that weight. God put pressure on it. Greater dear, but Breer Devore. In order for my voice to eventually occupy a larger area inside of you than the voices that deceived you, I was forcing away the noise, the clutter, and the false comforts you had previously depended on. Do you recall times when you were tired but unable to fall asleep? When your prayers were like unanswered echoes and your thoughts were like vultures circling? The room contained me. I was near your bones, nearer than your skin. Additionally, I was whispering in waves that your spirit could sense rather than in words that your ears could hear. That agitated discomfort, it wasn't arbitrary. It was divine dissatisfaction calling you higher, awakening your inner self, and drawing you away from the diversions that clouded your judgment. I wasn't missed by you. You weren't used to meeting me in that shape, as I don't usually yell when I speak. I sometimes put too much pressure on my voice, the burden that makes clear what must be let go, the pressure that identifies the untruth you've been concealing, similar to reality. I heard you say, "Lord, take this weight." But since the weight was waking you up, I let it stay. You were slipping into autopilot compliance, survival routine, and boredom. I can't allow you to sleepwalk through your purpose, though, because I love you too much. So, through the weight, I whispered. And now, child, I'm lifting it because you've learned to hear me even in the heaviness, not because I'm done talking. I now refer to what you earlier labeled perplexity as consecration. I wasn't isolating you, I was separating you. I was separating who you were from the expectations that prevented you from being anointed. Yes, the area that still required healing was exposed by the weight. It revealed the weaknesses in your self-assurance and the anxieties that continued to subtly influence your choices. And I made sure you spotted them by leaving the weight there for a while so you could give up. Not so you'd feel embarrassed and turn you over dead. Not all at once, perhaps. Not with fanfare, perhaps. However, you gave up your comfort, comparison, control, and idols one by one. Over the cheers of the world, you chose my whisper. I call you brave for that. I refer to you as sacred. I call you prepared, because you won't merely listen when I speak again. It is your life. I therefore state this with compassion and clarity. You heard me whispering through the wait. Perhaps this isn't the 1st or 10th time you've done it, which is why I'm speaking now without a veil or loudness. Since anxiety has tuned your ears, the hardship has hardened your spirit. You're not listening for solace anymore. You're waiting for an order, and that's the pose that changes everything, my darling. Lean in, child. The hurting wonder that has lingered in the recesses of your mind will be resolved by what I say next. Have I missed it? You've requested this, I know. You were afraid that you had disqualified yourself in the quiet of the night after another door was shut and in the lonely rerun of what ifs and what W's. The promise was strangely nullified by the lost chances, the agonizing dear, and the seasons of delay. No, you didn't miss it. I must say, with affection and passion. I'm not the type of God who folds the story when you falter, so even if you had, I would have turned it around. I am the one who reroutes with compassion and accuracy, the one who redeems and restores. And I'm bringing you back into the fulfillment you believed you had lost right now, the vision you buried, the dream you put on hold, the door you believed was permanently closed. I'll open it once more. It's because of what you've experienced, not in spite of it. Pay attention to me. I don't work according to human schedules. I work with divine alignment. I saw it as preparation, whereas you saw it as wasted time. I recognized what you perceived as lost chances as mission-critical improvements. There was no waste, not your diversion, not your postponement, not your refusal. I was tying everything together behind the scenes. All of your mistakes, setbacks, and missed seasons go into the soil of who you are. The seemingly lifeless seed is suddenly rupturing beneath the surface. You believed that the season was over, but I've kept the promise safe in my timing vault, and I say it's time today. Now is the start of the re-entry. Fulfillment is not only feasible, it is unavoidable. Because I, your God, have set aside this time to make up for the years that seem to have been taken from you, to reopen doors that were closed too soon, and to overturn decisions that were final. And believe me, things will be different this time. You won't try this time. You'll take a step. You'll plead. They'll beckon you. What is clothed won't be forced open by you. I've already swung wide. You'll go through it. You won't question whether it's actually me this time. The weight of peace and the direction's clarity will let you know, and you won't be chasing it this time, kid. In seemingly routine situations, you will encounter unexpected persons who will bring you fulfillment. Because I'm that devoted, you'll notice that I'm living in the answer I believed I had lost. That sovereign is me. Your destiny has captured my heart. So let go of the embarrassment of being late. Let go of your regrets about previous choices. Put an end to practicing the time frame you created in your mind. I'm creating a better thing. Additionally, you are on time. The time for your atonement is exactly appropriate. The same thing you believed had passed you by is what I am drawing you into, not in fragments, but in entirety. The crowning, not the consolation. As the divine continuance of an unchanging purpose, not as a second chance. You were going to have to settle for survival, and that child is the reason I couldn't wait any longer. However, I came to reintroduce fulfillment to you. Let me tell you something, my dear child, that only I could say with certainty, because I was present in the room, in the quiet, in the parts of you that no one else knew existed. When no one was around, I marked you. Not after you received accolades, not when you were cheered, not with everyone leaning in. However, your heart yearned to enter the rooms you were ignored, rejected, and excluded from. You believed that no one noticed your covert loyalty. You tightened your teeth and whispered the private yes, your devotion, even as your name was forgotten. However, I did. I witnessed everything, every unseen choice you made to maintain your integrity. When giving in was consoling, when it hurt, you gave every time. Each time you gave a blessing when you were bleeding. In heaven's eyes, child, those were no minor deeds. They were wonderful. They caused the throne womb to tremble. They weren't overlooked. They have markings on them. Do you know what that implies? Your obedience is inscribed in the scrolls of eternity by me. I was writing your name on projects that were too precious for the general world to see, while you hoped that men would remember you. It was not your lack of skill readiness that caused the ascension to feel delayed. It was because only secret seasons could provide the kind of character your call demanded. I don't base my promotions on popularity. Based on purity, I anoint. And you, my child, have persevered through valleys of quiet, deserts of delay, and fires of miscommunication, not flawlessly but persistently. I mark that, the perseverance, the unwavering faith, the reluctance to give up when it would have been obvious to everyone else. You didn't pick this route. The Eternal One was your choice, and you were gathering fruit while others were gathering followers. You are persevering while others were performing. I'm disclosing you now because I marked you back then. Your charisma won't be the foundation of this reveal. Your consecration will serve as its foundation. You didn't just happen to be here. You were given the job. You were saved. You were in a predicament. And no one will be able to claim credit for the favor I'm releasing because it will be so unique, so intimate, and so obviously divine, not even you. The timing will be too ideal, the acceleration was too amazing, and the alignment was too exact. Why? Because I personally wrote this portion of your story, and I only reveal what I anoint in private first. So hold your head high and walk through the doors when they open. Knowing that this isn't the outcome of struggle, I say this with reverence rather than pride. It's the benefit of giving up. Child, let this sink in. When no one else even saw you, I marked you. Even when you felt unlovable, I still loved you. When others dispersed, I stayed. And I create something within you that can now withstand what I'm going to pour. Prepared. Since what was formerly concealed is going to be honored and will appear as you have always anticipated. I shall appear in you, through you, and onto you. You are not merely summoned, you've been marked. I've spoken to you, and pay close attention to the following section if your soul is moved. You just got something that's not just for you. The fire is designed to be carried. Through my message, I hope to provide strength for those who are waiting, light for those who are lost, and oil for the tired. And in order to spread what you've just gone through to more hearts, more homes, and more secret locations, I've given you the opportunity to sow into that fire. You are not making a donation when you use the link in the description or the Super Thanks membership. A harvest is being activated by you. Give as it is written, and you will receive it. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together and running over, child. Every seed sown in trust is honored by me. I'll return it with an increase, shield it with my hand, and double it with favor. Don't delay. Participate in this outpouring. Give now, kid. I am aware that you doubted during some seasons, extended periods of silence during which I felt as though I had turned away, as though I had moved on to someone more capable, dependable, and productive. You let out a cry and asked if I still saw you, cared about you, or had anything more to say. I am also aware that the silence was incomprehensible. It had the impression of divine indifference and abandonment. However, allow me to reveal the truth and show you what was actually taking place. I wasn't quiet. I was planning. I was charting moves in areas that were invisible to the human eye. I was too busy planning alignments to hurry. You believed I had forgotten you, but I was creating something for you that needed to be shaped by silence. Sometimes I stop talking because the next word is so important, not because I've left. Before I release it, I must rid the atmosphere of all lesser sounds. I wasn't talking the way you were taught to hear. I was communicating through the silences, the holdups, and the setbacks. I was talking about the things I forbade, shielded you from, and discreetly closed off without your knowledge. You thought I was being reticent, but I was actually working. While you sat wondering if you were still part of my plan, did you know what was going on in heaven? Angels were learning. Battles were being fought on your behalf. There were conversations taking place in rooms you were unaware existed, talks in which your name was pronounced with dignity. The topic of doors was discussed, where eternity was considered in relation to chronology. And youngster, this is how it had to be. You might have moved too soon if I had talked too soon. If I had divulged too much, you might have borne what wasn't ready. I had to wait until your heart began to rest in me and quit seeking clarification. And now I'm talking again because you stayed, because you didn't flee, because you didn't curse me in the silence. This time, it's in motion rather than mystery. Things will start to change rapidly from now on. You're now in a position to see it, not because I just started acting. Conversations, dreams, and unforeseen opportunities that smell of destiny will all be signs. The plan will be too complex for human hands, so you'll know it's me. That's what this is, youngster. Not just favor, but strategy. Not merely a boon, but a model. I am unraveling a master plan you didn't know I was composing. Indeed, you are the main character in it. I didn't pass you by. I was getting the stage ready. The curtain is presently rising. The guilt that says you should have done more should thus be let go. Let go of the falsehood that you missed your opportunity. You never fell behind. You were being concealed within God's plan. And now I'm talking once more. And I won't give up until all of my plans come to pass. You're still in your spot. They were positioning you. You're now on time for what I've been working on all along, my darling. Youngster, I want you to know that I see it before I speak another word. The pain you buried beneath your obligations, your smiles, and your practiced faith is the one you never spoke about. You thought you had to be strong, so you didn't show it. You believed it would shatter you if you admitted it. But I was aware of its presence. I've seen you bearing it like a quiet weight over long days and restless nights when your heart felt overburdened. I'm not just talking over your life anymore. I'm addressing that pain, the unseen sorrow, the personal inquiries, and the solitary conflict between believing in me and wondering if I still see you. I care about that agony. It's not overly small, disorganized, or inconvenient. For my comfort, you don't have to filter it. Before I touch anything, you don't have to fix it. I am God, and I sit with you at the depths of your innermost thoughts and feelings. Heaven has taken notice of the pain you've carried. It has been yelled louder than any worship hymn and echoed louder than any lecture. It is now a sacred cry that pulled me in and struck the core of eternity. Furthermore, I didn't come to chastise you for experiencing it. That pain hasn't made you weak, which is why I come to honor it. You are now real because of it. Furthermore, I don't criticize performances. Honesty is something I anoint. Transparency is a blessing from me, and I live in broken places, not made-up ones. Therefore, I sit with you now as a present father rather than a distant ruler. Since every tear that fell into that silent pain has been gathered, I am here to speak life into it, give it a name, nourish it, and redeem it rather than to push you beyond the pain. Every shudder you concealed has been captured on camera. I now breathe over it with destiny rather than disdain. This pain is not the end for you. I'm constructing your next beginning on this altar. Allow me to reveal to you what you were unable to notice while you were surviving. Intimacy was invited by that pain. I was using it to draw you nearer to me while you begged me to take it away. I knew that when the lights went down, the commotion subsided and the distractions eventually lost their hold. You would come to me, honest and unvarnished. Not because I like your discomfort. And that's when we experience our most profound moments, not in your triumphs, but in your weakness. I gotta know you the best there. And for that reason, I've come here to speak with laser-like clarity rather than hazy comfort. Your destiny was not interrupted by that pain. It was the undercurrent that kept your spirit leaning toward me, your heart tender, and your soul vigilant. What used to feel like a curse is now becoming a catalyst thanks to me. The posture that puts you in a position of grandeur is the same suffering that made you humble. So, youngster, don't hate the pain. Don't flee from it. Stop silencing it now. Bring me along. Let me complete the tasks I began in the hidden locations, because what follows will do more than simply repair the surface. It will pay tribute to the pain. My beloved, if this message made you feel that God is still with you, then send it to those who need it, and subscribe to the channel to join us on this journey. Amen.